Rick and Morty is about the adventures of Rick Sanchez and his grandson Morty Smith. Rick originates from universe C137. At a young age, Rick was fascinated with technology. He soon fell in love with Diane and they had a daughter named Beth. He tried to make interdimensional travel with a portal gun but kept on failing. Rick Prime offered him a chance to gain this power, but Rick ultimately rejected him. Offended, he drops a bomb for his family and it kills Diane and Beth. Consumed by anger, he devotes his life to figuring out the portal gun, and once he did, he hunted down Ricks from different universes, killing them. He fell into a hole of despair and copious amount of drinking. The Alliance wanted to kill him. The survivors pledged fealty to him and he built the Citadel of Ricks to keep them safe. That was when he crash landed in the Cronenberg universe to inhabit a new life with Morty, his grandson, and Beth, his daughter. After being on this hiatus, it shows Rick in the pilot episode, waking Morty up to go on their first adventure, because this is Rick and Morty. In a later episode, Morty harasses Rick into making a love potion for him. Whoever he rubs it on will fall in love with him. The problem with the potion is that it spreads like wildfire. In trying to reverse the effects of the potion, Rick accidentally turns everyone into praying mantis-sized humans, hence the Cronenberg dimension. It is named after David Paul Cronenberg, a Canadian filmmaker known for making body horror or venereal horror genre.
I'm not interested in having sex with you. These serums, they don't work on anybody related to you genetically.
They abandoned the world, leaving Summer, Beth, and Jerry behind, taking their places of themselves in another universe.
Just had to find one of those realities in which we also happen to both die around this time.
They buried their past selves and assumed their positions in the new C131 universe. On Rick's 1-year anniversary of being back in Beth's life, Rick's soldiers teleport in, arresting Rick and his Morty.
You are under arrest for crimes against alternate Ricks by the authority of the Trans-Dimensional Council of Rick.
They take them to the Citadel of Ricks. At the headquarters for the Council of Ricks, they make too many Rick puns to count.
Brutally murdered in their own timelines. An unprecedented Rickocidal epidemic. What? That's ridiculous. Save your anti-Rick speech for the Council of Ricks, Terror Rick.
They accuse Rick of murdering the other Ricks because 27 of them have been found dead and he has a history of rebellion. They scan his portal gun and find that he has been to all the other locations where the Ricks have died. They sentence him to death, but he makes a break for it, running away and creating portals. They travel through multiple dimensions, escaping the council in a chair dimension where humans are the chairs. Morty wants to go home and stockpile weapons, but Rick knows it will be filled with Ricks and Mortys. At home, the Ricks wait for them to call home while they mess with Jerry. In a restaurant, Rick explains that they can't trace them because he is next to a Morty. Rick's genius brainwaves are cancelled out by Morty waves. Rick traces where his portal gun was hacked from. While searching for them, they are captured by the evil Rick and Morty. Morty is put in a cell with other Mortys. Evil Rick reveals that he wants to kill them and steal the contents inside his brain, but for now, he will scan his brain. In the cell, Cronenberg Morty gathers them to rebel against the prison. They rush the guards and kill evil Rick. Releasing Rick, he calls for the Rick soldiers to come collect the orphan Mortys.
Poor little Rickless bastards.
It is revealed that evil Rick was a robot. He was being controlled by evil Morty. He escapes on a ship full of Mortys.
Hey, wait a minute.
Mr. Smith?
Oh yeah, just masturbating!
Going to Birdman's wedding with Tammy, Rick was forced to go because Jerry got sucked up by an interdimensional messenger. Birdman is Rick's best friend. They met at a music festival where they got high and performed in a band with Squanchy. They became close friends when their anti-governmental values aligned.
Morty,
Bird person?
you appear to be dying. I will make efforts to prevent this, but can promise nothing.
They led a resistance against the Galactic Federation. Birdperson met Tammy at Summers High School. At the wedding ceremony, she reveals that she is actually a Federation agent. Birdperson and Squanchy stay behind to let Rick evacuate his family. They escape to a different universe because the Federation members will be waiting for them on Earth.
Get in the goddamn ship! Everything's on a cob! The whole planet's on a cob! Go! Go! Go!
They settle down on a miniature Earth. When Rick explores the planet, they debate abandoning him and calling the Federation so they can get home.
Why are we doing this? For someone that would never do anything for anyone but himself.
Because I don't want him to leave again, you dumb asshole!
Overhearing this conversation, Rick is succumbed by guilt. He leaves to report himself to the Federation, but he has to get one laugh in.
I'm Jerry Smith, And I love sucking big, sweaty boners.
He is arrested and put into an interdimensional federal prison. The family is escorted back to Earth, where aliens and humans now coexist.
Morty, you've hardly touched your pills.
I kind of had big pills for lunch, and I was gonna eat more pills.
In the prison, the federal agents are trying to trick Rick into giving them the formula for the portal gun. You might be asking how they would be a galactic federation if they didn't have interdimensional travel. Well, they do, kinda. In the pilot episode, Rick and Morty run out of portal gun juice, and Rick needs the special seeds.
And I'm gonna need you to put them way up inside your butthole, Morty.
My butt?
Put them way up inside there, as far as they can fit.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
They escape through the interdimensional galactic federal customs by using their massive portal. The Ricks are the only people with the formula for the portal gun. It is easily portable and faster to use.
Yeah!
Rick manipulates his thoughts to take control of the agent, escaping exactly when the Rick soldiers invade to kill him. He transfers his mind into D99 to kill the other Rick soldiers.
We have your Morty and Summer. They're prisoners on the Citadel. Great.
At the Citadel, Morty and Summer find out that Rick is dead. Rick transfers his consciousness over to a different captain.
He's a spy. Blow him up. I'm gonna go take a shit.
He then teleports the Citadel onto the Galactic Federation.
What the fuck? We just teleported into a galactic federal prison. I'm gonna go take a shit.
Amidst the chaos, he kills the Council of Ricks. They gain level 9 access to the Galactic Federation and change the currency value to 0 to mess with the aliens. The government commits suicide and the aliens depart from Earth. Beth and Jerry get divorced because Rick is back in their lives. Jerry recently made the statement that they never need Rick in their lives ever again, and also he doesn't want their kids to be influenced by Rick's trips or his parenting style.
No. Foot down time.
No, you're right. Where's the vodka?
Beth, it's him or me.
Rick reveals that it was all a part of his master plan.
No more dad, Morty. He threatened to turn me into the government, so I made him and the government go away.
Rick and Morty pass on the president because they were just called in to kill a space monster.
He treats us like Ghostbusters.
Rick warns the president that they aren't able to arrest him even if they tried. Annoyed, the president celebrates the departure from Rick and Morty.
We never needed them and never will again. Today we celebrate our independence from Rick and Morty.
Rick demands that Morty deserves a picture with the president. They've saved Earth multiple times, but the president is unwilling to give him a photo.
Get out.
Not without a selfie.
They fight in a sick fight scene, which I recommend you watch. But in the meantime, Morty escaped to a hideout with the family away from Rick. There was a paradigm of robotic clones introduced in the episode.
You're not pretending to be convinced you're real because you're actually convinced you're a clone, and you're now terrified that becoming self-aware would mean I'd have to terminate you.
No.
Okay, glad I could help. See you soon.
Rick teleports out. He brought a gun to kill Jerry because Beth is the real daughter. He amends his relationship with the president by pretending to be fly fishing Rick. Beth and Jerry are back together.
Now Jerry and I are happily married parents.
Space Beth comes to Earth to kill Rick for placing a bomb in her neck. She is followed by the Galactic Federation, which comes to Earth to capture her. They confuse her with Earth Beth, so they captured them both.
You fetch your shitty father's lemonade. You cosplay as your shitty father in his 30s.
They use the NX-5 to neutralize the human population. Rick kills Tammy and invades the ship with his family. He finds out that Bird Person has become one of them.
Bird person?
It is now Phoenix Person.
What did they do to you, BP?
It is now PP.
Rick and PP fight again. Both the Beth escape prison, and Morty distracts the bugs while Summer destroys the NX-5 laser with denim plants. Yes, they are durable. Beth turns off the switch to PP. They don't care about who the real Beth is anymore. There was a real storyline behind how Space Beth and Earth Beth didn't know which one was the real one.
He told me you're the clone. What do you think he told me? You're the clone? Wow. Last chance to guess who was the clone. You're his daughter. Something about the eyes.
If you're both alive, don't hurt the other one. She's just a clone. She's not worth it. I'm coming, baby.
That piece of shit.
And at the end of the episode, they kind of gave up, accepting the fact that any of them could be the clone.
I don't care what's in that vial. Yeah, me neither.
Rick watches the video of when he created the clone of Beth, revealing that the real Beth is unknown. He kept PP with him, hoping that one day he could turn him back to becoming Birdman, his best friend. In a later episode, Rick tries to resuscitate Birdperson by going through his consciousness to convince him to come back. Rick and Morty have a falling out because Morty was using Rick's portal gun without his knowledge.
Which is why I have sidekick rules. If you can't follow them, I can be replaced. Yeah, so you keep telling me. I'll see your bluff call and raise you reality. I can't pretend I haven't been looking forward to this. Behold, my wheel of better things than Morty.
He spins a wheel and lands on 2 crows to replace Morty.
2 crows, you're fired. You know what, eat shit.
On their first adventure, they decide to save the children instead of getting the treasure, to which Rick despises and throws them away. He is lasered down by the Crow Lord.
I'm open to what you're describing if it's easier than wiping an unearned smirk off my grandson's face. What do I do?
They explain to him the importance of crows and how they don't need to be trained, and they fly him home to find that he chose the 2 crows to spite his sidekick.
You just learned empathy from us 10 minutes ago, but now we're going to learn we don't get your humor. F***ing horse shit.
The joke is your grandson was so replaceable that even 2 crows could do it. It's funny, except it's not.
They take the crows away. Rick destroys everyone on the ship and takes the crows back. They go on new adventures, leaving Morty behind.
Rick and 2 crows! Kicking off my new franchise! The galaxy is our telephone wire! We'll do 1,000 seasons!
Rick continues his adventures with the 2 crows, and Morty tries to guilt trip him with his fast aging to come back to them. One night, he catches the 2 crows with his nemesis.
What do you mean using me as a rebound?
Finding out that they were using him as a rebound, he is forced to go back to Morty. They go to the Citadel to unage Morty when they are invited to have dinner with the new Morty president. At the dinner, they are strapped down.
I should have everything I need from you now. Let me just make sure.
In season 1, evil Rick strapped down Rick and scanned him, so evil Morty already has a scan of his brain. The portal juice doesn't work anymore. They break out and go investigate in the depths of the Citadel, where they find that all the portal juice is disappearing. They introduce the concept of the central finite curve in this episode.
What is the central finite curve? Q&A after our survival.
A multiversal covered with continuums, guaranteeing that Rick exists with Morty. Evil Morty wants to break out of this.
And I'm leaving it. That's what makes me evil. Being sick of him.
He breaks a hole in the curve and escapes. The portal juice now becomes yellow. It isn't revealed why evil Morty's portal juice is yellow in the series. However, some conspiracy theories suggest that Rick represents blue and Morty represents yellow, creating the green portal. Now that Rick is gone because evil Morty escaped the central finite curve, it is only yellow.
I can't believe this. I'm sitting here with both of my legs broken. Oh, ow. You're a monster. You're like Hitler, but even Hitler cared about Germany or something.
They are stranded on what is left of the Citadel, with evil Morty leaving behind carnage in his path. In their last moments, Space Beth rescues them. Rick tries to reset the portal juice, but they start flickering green, and Rick warns them that they are going to be teleported back to their original universe, giving Summer a beacon to teleport them back.
Wow.
There was so much time to explain.
Yes, fine. Hindsight is 20/20. Who has ever taken this long to vanish?
Rick is teleported to the universe where Diane and Beth were killed by Rick Prime. He built an AI version of Diane to torment himself for this.
Mute.
If I could be muted, I wouldn't be too good at haunting you, would I, you dirty bear?
Yeah.
That's where haunting comes in handy, huh?
Very good point, sugar.
He proceeds to fly into the cut in the central finite curve, realizing that the Rick who killed his Beth and Diane would also be teleported back to the Cronenberg dimension. He flies to Morty's universe, revealing that he only chose this specific Morty because it was Rick Prime's Morty. In the Cronenberg dimension, Rick picks up Morty and they leave to find Rick Prime, where they are taunted by a naked Rick in a capsule. They teleport back with a beacon to pick up Jerry, and also they have to move dimensions because of Mr. Frundles.
Bit of a rush job, actually, so they do say Parmesan weird. How do they say Parmesan?
In a later episode, dinosaurs land on the planet and Rick stops them from trying to commit suicide, so they help him by sealing up the hole in the central finite curve. Rick celebrates Christmas with his family, giving out presents. Morty is given a lightsaber that he drops into the ground. They take the elevator and find out that the Rick he was spending time with was a robot.
You dumb fucking robot, you had one job!
In a previous episode, Morty was offered a sword for picking up a sandwich for a night. Against Rick's advice, he took it.
Good day.
Wait, did he just... God damn it, Morty, you took the sword? So boring.
He was transported onto the sun and told to cut off his penis to become a knight.
Now just cut off your penises and throw them into the sun.
to which Rick saved him.
I'm gonna be like 22% more agreeable with you for like maybe one episode or one adventure. We'll see how it goes.
This was probably the time when they swapped places. While Morty and clone Rick were adventuring, he was researching for Rick Prime. He eventually saves Morty, the president, and the dying robot clone from a space vacuum. He invites Morty to help him search for Rick Prime. Now fully engulfed in searching for Rick Prime, upstairs, the family starts to complain about Mr. Poopy Butthole overstaying his welcome. After being mistakenly shot by Beth, his life went downhill, losing his job, wife, and son. Rick decides to fix this, rounding up the crew and Hugh Jackman to party the night away. They get the idea to make a grand gesture to get his family back, but they realize that the predator he hired to stalk Amy is now her new husband. After beating him up, they come to the conclusion that Predator is a better suit for their family. Rick starts going to therapy again, only to find that the president needs his help. Unity is taking over Virginia. With his new separation technology, he talks with Unity. She tried contacting him and wants to warn him against searching for Rick Prime. He convinces her to leave the country because she broke up with him. Falling for Dr. Wong, the president starts to go out with Rick's therapist, but once Unity left and the hive mind was empty, the president decided to create a cult of his own to win his next campaign. Forced to apologize, Rick catches up with Unity and together they stop Andre, and too does Dr. Wong. By breaking up with him, bringing up past memories, Rick drinks alone listening to the voicemails of Unity, even sharing a drink with the president. As Rick and Morty continue searching for Rick Prime, this causes damage in the central finite curve, destroying evil Morty's oasis, so he teleports in to help them, so they will stop messing with his leisure time away from Rick. One variant of Rick pulls them into a different realm, locked into a box with other Ricks searching for Rick Prime. Entrapped, they are made to fight each other, and eventually, they become the last alive. United in killing Rick Prime's trap, combining their knowledge, they teleport out of the prison, the only people to ever make it out alive, then use the black fluid to trace it back to the origin of Rick Prime. Teleporting there, they enter Rick Prime's lair, destroying all the drones. Rick Prime displays the Omega device, a gadget that allows him to erase every single variant of a character. Rick and Evil Morty fight together to defeat Rick Prime, reattaching limbs and knocked out, when Evil Morty gets the final blow, downloading all of Rick Prime's information and dismantling the Omega device, letting Rick have the final say. Evil Morty leaves, reminding them not to follow him because he can recreate the Omega device. Morty excited with them finally defeating Rick Prime, but dissatisfied with the revenge. Rick goes through life, never fully healing his trauma or bringing back Diane. Morty is caught listening to rap music in class and gets immediate detention, but they are flung into a field trip where Ice-T needs to save his planet from the Numbercons. He falls in love with the enemy, Sinister 7, and together they take down Infinity with their golden gun, reuniting the Numbercons and Alpha Betrium, all in time for them to do their homework for Mr. Goldenfold. Brushing past a scary amusement park, they are enticed by Carnival Guy. Working for Earth, he promises them the scariest experience in their lives, at a Denny's. In the men's bathroom is the fear hole, with a tutorial video explaining that the hole visualizes the deepest darkest fears, and if you defeat it, you win. Despite Rick's assumption that it will be boring, Morty jumps in, followed shortly after by Rick. They fight aliens and the hole is a dud. They fly home to find that an alternate dying Rick has left Diane for Rick to take care of. Still believing that they're in the hole, they go down the storyline. Rick de-ages himself to fit in with Diane. Their family accepts Diane as Beth's mother and Rick's wife, slowly learning their lore and connecting over their past, creating new memories, drinking their time away, and falling back in love, while Morty waits for Rick to come back. Noticing Rick starting to die, Morty meets up with Carnival Guy to learn that everything good and happy dies. Rick will die before he can accept the fact that he is happy. Wanting to escape this hole, Morty decides to conquer every fear by eating spiders, public embarrassments, and taking a lead role for an unpracticed play. Knowing that he has to leave Diane behind, Rick joins Morty naked on stage as they dance the night away to conquer their fears, leaving the fear hole. But they slowly go through each fear they have, constantly reappearing back in the hole, going through life, and in the end becoming Jerry, until Morty realizes his ultimate fear. What if he jumped in the hole and Rick never followed him in? That was the real fear, and happy to see Rick again, but Rick chooses not to jump in, already knowing what he'd see inside. Mr. Poopy Butthole takes the trick out of Rick's book, teleporting to a new dimension to fix his wrongs and take the place of another Mr. Poopy Butthole. This is when the series ends. Make sure to subscribe, and if you like the videos I make and want to support the channel, consider joining the memberships, and for more, watch this.